The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Can you image me presiding over a court cast? Me? Hell yes, I can. And so can everyone else as Amber and Scott discuss Mercy. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
So I firmly believe this actually could be the judicial future.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, our judicial system now with a jury of our peers, very infrequently actually a jury of our peers.
Yeah, though I would say this. I do like the concept of the jury, but you could just literally make the jury 12 different AIs.
Yeah, it's...
who all process information and they actually process everything.
Yeah, no, this is an interesting topic, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode we are talking about the film Mercy. Set in the near future when capital crime has increased, Mercy follows a detective who is accused of a violent crime and is forced to prove his innocence. And what that description doesn't say is that the judicial system, as Scott was referencing, has changed, and we have an AI judge. We do not have a jury, and you are guilty until proven innocent. And you have access to records and data and video and resources for your trial, which happens almost immediately after you are captured for the crime and lasts a total of 90 minutes.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't necessary. I know they said guilty until proven innocent, but if I remember correctly, all you had to do was get the guilt
to 92%, I think. 92 or 94.
Yeah, I thought it was like 93.6, something in there. And he started with
98, 99, something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, 98 was the cap.
So, yeah, and he is sitting there in front of the judge while there are still police officers at the crime scene collecting evidence, assessing what has happened at the crime scene because his wife has been murdered. And he is in the courtroom fighting for his life while there's still cops at the scene, while after this has just happened. So the criminal justice system moves very quickly in this world.
Yes, and I'm down with that. I mean, listen, if you've got a stone cold hard subject that you're pretty damn certain, why not?
And here's the kicker, is you are in a chair while you're going through your trial, and the chair, if you lose, turns into an electric chair.
It becomes the chair.
And kills you right away. It is a very efficient system.
Yeah, you get judge, jury, and executioner all without being moved.
And the reason that this has happened is because we have... It actually happens in Los Angeles. It's set in Los Angeles, and we're in Los Angeles, where crime has escalated, and there are red zones which are not safe. And in a way of cracking down on crime, they're basically saying, yeah, we are zero tolerance. If you are accused of a crime, you are guilty until proven innocent, and you will be swiftly executed if found guilty to discourage crime, which has skyrocketed.
And it's worth noting that Chris was actually one of the people that championed this system. He was instrumental in even getting it, and he was instrumental in apprehending the first person who ever went through it.
Yeah, and he wakes up in this chair, and he doesn't know why he's there and has no recollection or knowledge of what has happened in the last few hours, and is told, hey, you murdered your wife, and that's why you're here. And throughout the course of the hour and a half of the trial, Chris is trying to figure out what really happened because he says, I would never murder my wife. And we learn in this process of investigation that he is a recovering alcoholic. He had bouts of sobriety and also falling off the wagon.
Yeah,
and
severe anger at times.
And he was separated from his wife in that moment, and they had a lot of tensions around that. But he's like, I would never kill my wife, and they have a teenage daughter. So over the course of the 90 minutes, he is trying to get down to the facts of what happened because he also doesn't really remember.
Okay, I want to start with a what would you do, and the what would you do is a governmental agency, and it's whatever ran Mercy. What would you do if you had this system that you could put in and do this? How much time would you put on that clock?
Okay, so the facility where he's at is called Mercy. How much time, do you mean the 90 minutes for the trial? I think, see, here's the thing, is when we talk about the efficiency of the trial, whoever is the defendant, they can tap into security cameras across the crime scene. They can tap into data from people's phones, as can the court. So everyone has access to any resource that they want.
Which is, you know what, if you're up for capital murder and you're trying to prove your innocence, that's the least they can do.
Yeah. But here's the tricky part, especially in his case. You woke up, you're not even really sure what happened. And to try to have to piece that together in 90 minutes or you die, I don't think 90 minutes is enough time. There should be like, hey, you have, even if for an expedited execution, you think you'd at least give someone a little bit of time to prepare, because I don't think this was just the case with Chris. I think it was a universal thing that you didn't have a lawyer, right?
Yeah, it seemed like that was...
Yeah, so at least you need a little bit of time to be like, oh, okay, well, I want to check this camera and I want to show evidence from that thing, other than just winging it and figuring it out in the stress of the 90 minutes. So if I were there, I don't think that's fair. I think you should at least have 90 minutes of discovery and preparation and 90 minutes for a trial.
Yeah, you should get at least some, because you were right. The first couple of minutes, he didn't do anything because he was trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, and they had to show him video clips from the bar that he went to and how he fought police, and they showed him video from the camera at the house of him knocking at his ex-wife's home. And yeah, a lot of that time is piecing it together, and I'm sure that there are people that even if you didn't lose consciousness or lose memory of what had happened, you still need to be like, okay, well, I want to check this and I want to show that, other than spending time going down a rabbit hole and being, okay, well, that didn't yield anything, and your clock's ticking away and you're closer to death.
So I am going to say this. Spoiler alert, he's innocent, but he was being framed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, as much as that guy had set up things to frame him, he was not at all hurt by several things that he did.
What?
He admitted he came into the house and broke the vase.
Which he? I'm sorry,
Chris.
I lost. Okay.
Chris came in and broke the vase.
Yeah, he had a verbal argument with his ex-wife, or separated wife, whatever.
And it was weird because, okay, you're separated, but your flask is missing from your truck, so you assume that she found it and removed it, but you're separated? Why would she do that?
How is that a what would you do? What am I doing? If I were the ex-wife, am I saying if I would go?
If you were the writers of this film, what would you do? No, that part didn't make a lot of sense. But the guy who was framing him got bonus stuff to frame. Like, oh, here, he's going to smash a vase. Oh, here, he's going to go to a bar, get drunk, and then resist arrest. Those aren't things that that the framer could have planned for. They were just bonuses.
Yeah.
So, back to the initial question about how much time. I do agree there needs to be some form of discovery time. And maybe you don't have access to the records during that, but you kind of get an idea kind of what you're looking for. I actually do not think there's a time limit.
But the whole point is for resolution to occur quickly to cut down on crime in the first place. If you let people have indefinite time, then how is that any improvement over the inefficiency of the very slow judicial system?
I think you have a rule that basically says, and I'm thinking 60 minutes on this one maybe, you have to bring something new to this case at least once every 60 minutes.
Oh, you're trying to gamify the death chair.
Well, it's not that I'm gamifying the death chair. It's bring something that could, even if it doesn't directly, because you have AI to judge this. bring out something that could lead towards your innocence. Keep going until you go an hour and you can't present anything. Then you die. And if this should take as long as it should, and honestly, if it goes 16 hours, you let the guy sleep.
What, if you find out 2 things in an hour and you don't find something out the next hour, you die? That's kind of messed up.
Well, every time you find something, it just resets that hour clock, wherever it's at.
Well, that's not incentivizing you to work quickly because, again, if you found a couple of things, then the clock resets and resets and resets, and then you're like, well, crap, I just found a bunch of stuff, and now an hour passed, and now I have to die because I was efficient.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't sign on for that.
But here's the thing. It's not he's going to find something without the AI knowing it.
Yeah, but if you're having the clock reset, I mean, that seems unnecessarily punitive.
But the time limit itself, it could easily take more than 90 minutes to prove innocence.
Yeah. No.
Easily.
Yeah, no, I'm saying there should be more time, but the whole point is that there are pockets of just absolute mayhem, and they have instituted this as an effective way to reduce crime. You can be like, okay, you pull a crime, you are in Mercy, the court facility, immediately fighting for your life, and if you don't prove your innocence through the use of very sophisticated AI resources and data, because every phone, every camera, every resource, every social media platform is funneled through the government so they can see everything in your home and your phone, all your activity. And given these great resources, we will give you 90 minutes and then you die. That is a great way to curb crime, which is their goal.
Yes, but...
And keep in mind, this isn't a little crime. Like, this is chaos. Cops in riot gear kind of chaos in these areas.
He was the 19th case in a year and a half.
Yeah, because it's working.
Oh, it's working, yes, but it's not like you got to turn him over and churn. If you put someone in
churn.
Yeah, next. No, you've got let him have as much time. I mean, you're averaging one a month. What's the difference between an hour and a half or 5 hours, 10 hours, a day and a half?
So it's too efficient for you.
Well, it's not that it's too efficient. If you're going to take someone's life, you need to give them every possible opportunity to save it. And
well, I think having access to the resources is giving them every opportunity to save it, because this leads to another what would you do is, and I suspect you might have a different opinion here because we frequently disagree about the issue of privacy. But in this world, everything you say and do is in the cloud. What your secret social media accounts, your camera at home, every street, there's no way to hide from Big Brother. And as such, when you are at Mercy Court, all of those resources are available to you. So my what would you do is, would you just happily live in a world where every single thing was monitored? Or would you be Chris's wife, Nick, who wound up getting some burner phones from a guy that she met? Now, granted, she was kind of fooling around with him on the side and whatnot, and she wanted to be discreet about it. But the point being is, finding secret burner phones was a thing because of people who wanted to be off the grid because they were living in such a highly monitored environment and society.
I mean, yeah, I'd probably want a burner too if I was in that scenario for something that maybe I didn't want out there. But
oh, for the unusual thing, but not for everyday use.
Yeah, no, I here's the deal.
For the occasional indiscretion.
In general, the government doesn't care about your information. They just don't. Unless you're like a senator or maybe a CEO of a major company or something. They just don't care. It's in place so they can use it, not so they're required to use it. And I'm nobody. I mean, I guess I am a CEO now, but of Duncast, which you can actually try on trial at duncast.com.
Okay. Who knows when someone will listen to this? They could be listening to this for 3 hours in the future, and then there might not be a trial. So
well, if it's not in trial, you still get a 14-day free trial.
Well, they might not in 3 years when they listen to this. Don't date things. Don't date things. You're dating it.
I will date an advertisement for my company. Anyway, now I don't even know where
being monitored, and the government doesn't care because you're a nobody.
Monitor. Because here's the thing. The thing that could potentially implicate you is also the same thing that can exonerate you.
Yeah, and that's what we found in this case. Ultimately, Chris did find out what happened. He did find out that someone he thinks is a friend actually was behind a lot of the issues that were happening with his wife and killed his wife and abducted his daughter. And all of this was done through the data that the AI court could provide.
Yeah, and he was smart. He knew what they could do.
Who was she?
Rob.
Oh, yeah. Rob was the guy that was the friend of Chris and Nick, who was also
His sponsor.
Yeah, and responsible for killing Chris's wife, Nick.
Yeah. He literally hid out in their basement for 2 days so that no one would see him coming or going. Made sure his car got driven out of there.
Yeah, no.
Went out a back way that their only way that they even saw anything was because there was a bird cam.
Yeah, a camera on a bird feeder. They could even tap into a camera on a bird feeder, and that's how they realized that Rob had left through a bush behind the house because the bush moved. So, yeah, you were tapping into everything there. And it was very disturbing for me personally to see Rob as a bad guy because I see the actor who played Rob as Toby from This Is Us, who is one of the good guys. So that was a little traumatic.
Toby was not a good guy here.
Yeah, Rob was a bad guy.
Yes.
So what kind of faith would you have in a system? Mercy court.
Heavy. There's no bias. You are literally programmed to be unbiased. You look at the facts, you analyze the facts.
Yeah, and as they got more facts, either in his favor or against him, that guilty number, which they measured, went up and down accordingly.
Yeah, like when they found the burner phone and tracked it down to figure out who was the guy that was screwing his wife, and then were able to place him essentially with an alibi somewhere that he couldn't have done it. It actually caused his potential guilty percentage to go up because, hey, now you've got motive.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is in that example you just gave, the guy that she was sleeping with could have been a suspect, but was immediately cleared because the camera of him working in the kitchen that he worked in, he was a chef, immediately exonerated him. And that actually is pretty powerful because if you haven't done anything wrong, to be able to be exonerated that quickly, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, unless someone is massively setting you up.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Rob was doing all this because
his brother was the first one killed.
Yeah, his brother was the first one that was killed. They had to kind of put that thing together. They didn't realize that there was a connection. And Rob was pretty pissed off about that. And it was Chris who made the arrest and had petitioned for this, so he wanted revenge. And it was literally a 2-year-long con to get that revenge.
Yeah, because they accidentally met at an AA meeting, and the guy Chris, who was ultimately responsible for his brother's death and creating the whole mercy court to begin with, all of a sudden fell into his lap. So yeah, he nurtured that. He became a sponsor. He created a relationship. Somehow he wound up being a co-worker with the wife. We don't know what that backstory is. But yeah, he was very much integrated into this family's life for 2 years.
Yeah. He wanted to make sure that everyone paid.
Not money, but with their life.
Yeah, so he wanted Chris in the chair to know what it felt like. But in the end, considering he was driving a huge semi-truck full of explosives that would have blown up anything in like 20-block radius, whether Chris was guilty or not, he was going to be guilty. And at the same time, he blows up the entire system that caused him to lose his brother.
Yeah, his goal is to, drive the explosives into Mercy Court, blow it up, blow up the whole system. And he also has Chris's daughter that he has abducted in the semi-truck with him with the explosives.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see the way the AI acted near the end. It definitely took on some emotional characteristics. Like, Rob's holding a dead man switch. And he's talking about his brother, how his brother's innocent. His brother's innocent. And, okay, we'll make you a deal. Don't deadman this. I will reopen that trial right now. If you say he's innocent, I will reopen it.
Yeah, the AI judge decides to afford him that opportunity.
Yeah, so what it ended up being was his brother actually was innocent.
Not everyone's innocent, mercy court.
Now, I think his brother was just kind of wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to get that win. But
well, it's Chris's police partner who ultimately
murdered him.
Was responsible for the whole situation with Rob's brother.
Yeah. So when they started finding that out, they were able to go back and trace a few things, a few cameras, and
I mean, she didn't actually murder him, but she let him stand trial. And
oh, well, she didn't murder Rob, but she murdered his brother. I mean, she stood over the overpass, took the gun, bang, dead. Which, I mean, it was a setup. I mean, it was a stupid setup.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to create a win. People are going to kill anyway. You haven't even used this thing yet, so nobody's really, truly scared of it. And if they are truly scared of it, great. No one's killing anyone. So you kind of have that whole thing.
It's a very fascinating film that I don't know when this film was created and produced for it to come out at a time where in the last couple months the power and influence of AI has accelerated so rapidly that I have to think this film was maybe a tad ahead of its time in saying what was possible. And in the time that it was actually filmed and it came out, that reality doesn't feel that impossible anymore because of the advances that have happened just in the last 6 months.
I mean, listen, despite the fact that the AI got it wrong on the first case, I mean, there's also the part where you kind of need to prove your innocence. So we don't know what happened in that situation, why he didn't prove his innocence or couldn't or something like that. It's going off facts. And the facts pointed a certain way, but you can get exonerated. But that's also why I don't love the 90-minute thing.
So, but here's the thing, too, is if you have 90 minutes to present evidence and to exonerate yourself, quite bluntly, there are people who are a little bit sharper and more adept at that than others. So if you happen to be someone who is just not, you can't think on your feet, you can't use deductive reasoning, if your intelligence might be at a little simpler level, you're kind of doomed unless you can accurately and effectively use the resources that the Mercy Court gives you.
The more I think about this, the more I think that you should actually be given 24 hours before you even start. We're going to lock you up in a jail cell.
See, but there are no jail cells, so there's not all that money going
no,
to...
I mean, there were still jail cells. They're just...
Were there? If you don't have to hold people?
Well, there are other crimes other than capital murder.
Well, doesn't everyone get tried? Was it just murder?
Yeah, it was capital murder only.
Oh, was
That's
it?
why they only had 19 in a year and a half.
Oh, okay. I missed that part.
Yeah, so there were definitely still a cell to put him in. Let him bring in his lawyer. Because here's the thing. In a trial with humans, lawyers can use tactics and persuasiveness and stuff like that to cause doubt and can actually get somebody who is someone who is guilty into getting a not guilty verdict. In this case, you're not going to persuade the AI. You're going to need facts, and you probably need someone to consult with. Like, if you're truly not guilty, if you say, I'm pleading not guilty, and you truly are innocent, give him a day to talk to the lawyer, work things out with him.
Well, wouldn't everybody say that if it bought you more time?
Well, it depends. Because here's the thing. If you're guilty, you're not going to be able to prove your innocence. Like, you're just not. Unless you were somehow trying to set somebody up that kind of went sideways, and you could be like, no, it's this person because of blah, blah, blah. Even then, no. If you did the murder, you're done. So, but for those people who would say, yeah, I know I truly am innocent, give them a day so that they can walk through the steps understand like where you were, what was going on, and use that lawyer to help him generate. It's not a defense. It's purely discovery. Like, we need to be able to see this and this and this and this and this and this. And you, maybe there's a camera somewhere that we weren't thinking about. Look for that like all of that. And then you come in a much better emotional state. Like, you're not just frantic because you had a night to sleep on it. And you've had a chance to prepare. Like,
I don't know how well you're sleeping if you're being charged with murder.
Probably not well, but you better. You better, because the last thing you want to do is be sleep deprived going into a trial where you have to prove something.
You better
or
get
you
over
die.
that stress of dying. You better sleep. Better catch your Z's and go to dreamland.
I mean, it is only fair to give a person in that situation every, I won't say advantage, but to prevent
Opportunity.
any disadvantages. Make sure, and maybe they give him a drug and force him to sleep. Okay?
You get more time and a sleeping pill.
I mean, they should be able to come into that chair.
I don't know how I feel about a Scott-driven world.
Well awake and ready to go. I'd be more inclined with 90 minutes.
I mean, should they also have a life coach and a yoga session in the morning,
I
too?
don't think we need the yoga session, no. No, if I'd be more inclined to go with, say, 90 minutes if you had a night to prepare. The other thing I didn't like in this movie was there was time spent attempting to either get somewhere for an investigation or someone not getting to the phone, or at any time where you're waiting on something to happen, that should not count from your time.
Okay.
It just shouldn't. You're like, I'm going to die in 5 minutes. Your partner's like 4 minutes away. So you got a minute once you get there? Listen, I
did have hovercraft. It's not like they were stuck in LA traffic.
It was helpful, yeah. I'm not saying not to use it. I am pro capital punishment. If you commit that heinous of a crime, you should die for it. I know that's my Republican showing, but it is exactly how I feel. But you need to give him the best chance to prove. And if he can't, then he dies, because he probably wasn't innocent. And that's the thing. Don't lie to your lawyer.
People lie to their lawyers all the time.
Well, yes, but
Don't lie to your lawyer.
well, in this case, no, because the lawyer's going to help you with discovery and stuff like that.
Like normal lawyers do.
Yes. But here's the deal. If you actually did the crime, your discovery and everything, you're not going to be able to just pin this on someone.
I think a lot of people, though, would want to preserve their memory or their name and be like, go down fighting. No, I'm innocent, regardless if they're guilty or not. I don't think anyone's going to just be forthright and say, oh, I did it.
Okay, fine. Sure, let everyone have this. I'm totally fine with that. Again, this is one of those things that you can't take back. This isn't like you've been in jail for 5 years and then new evidence came up that exonerates you and you get out of jail. If you get this punishment, we done. We done completely. So, with the stakes being that high, give them every chance.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.